Hey guys, it's Layla from Ignite, and in today's video I'm going to take you through some close analysis of the opening sequence in Stephen Daldry's Billy Elliot. If you do like our content guys, please do subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications. So, my aim in this video is to frame for you a key scene from Daldry's film, do a bit of a recap of that scene, and then shot by shot show you how to do close analysis of a film. So if you're a student who finds visual analysis a little bit tricky and you don't really know how to unpack the key aspects of form in Billy Elliot, I think that you should find this video really helpful. Alright, so the scene that I'm looking at is, like I mentioned, the opening sequence of the film, and this is where we're introduced to Billy's character, particularly in the opening, as really carefree. We see his childhood innocence, we're introduced to his actual name, and then shortly afterwards we see him interact with his grandmother, who seems to have some sort of dementia or Alzheimer's, and we see him adopt this really maternal and caring role towards her. So I'd like to take a closer look at these three shots and show you how we actually analyze film. I think it's actually really useful to look at the film in silence in some respects, although of course non-diegetic music is really important to the film. When we're actually analyzing film, it's really crucial that you focus on the visual features as opposed to, script or dialogue. So that's why I've chosen to do the screenshots in this particular video. So, a recap of what actually happens in the opening. So we're introduced to the character of Billy. Like I mentioned, we see his childhood innocence. He's jumping on the bed. He's got these really playful expressions. And we also see this nexus, if you will, this correlation between his love for music and for the movement of the body, and how this becomes a form of not only escapism but also expression for him. So it really foregrounds that crucial aspect of his character. Secondly, it also establishes the Bildungsroman genre of the text. Now, if you are struggling to unpack aspects of form and genre, I recommend that you watch our video on form in Billy Elliot. In that video, I talk about how Bildungsroman refers to the coming of age aspect of the text. The fact that we see in the opening certain aspects of Billy's character, his desires, particularly his desire for dance, that in the earlier stages of the film are a struggle for him, which he is unable to reconcile, and that of course becomes fulfilled by the end. And we know that in the ending of the film there are some beautiful references back to the opening, and that circularity in the narrative feeds really directly into the Bildungsroman genre. So that's really established in the opening sequence there. And we also see this establishment between the emotional connection that Billy has between dance and his happiness. So that aspect of his character is framed in those opening shots. Okay, so that's a little recap there. Now let's take a look shot by shot at how one would go about analysing film. So, the first thing I'd like to consider here, whenever we look at a shot from a film, we always refer to the border of the image as the frame. And then we might like to ask ourselves, well, what kind of shot is this? It's an extreme close-up, and the function of the extreme close-up here is that we get an understanding of Billy's expression. And you can see he's being really playful, he's enjoying the dance, it establishes his childhood innocence, and all of these points are crucial to his character in the earlier parts of the film, as his playful innocence serves as an escape and a contrast to the real political strife of the miners during this context and the dim nature of his family life. He really is in contrast to all of that. Okay, then we also consider the mise-en-scène. Now, mise-en-scène refers to the placement of everything within the frame, so it's quite an all-encompassing aspect of form. And within this, I'd like you to consider the colour. Now, you can see in the background there are these little moments of yellow, and there's also yellow in Billy's dress, his costuming, which is also part of mise-en-scène. Yellow is important because it's a bright colour, it symbolises happiness, and this starts to establish not only that correlation, like we said, between dance and Billy's happiness, but also the happiness he brings as a child within his innocence. And then we also have the diegetic music which plays from the recorder in the house. And while we don't need to quote from the lyrics, it is important to understanding how the scene is functioning in its entirety, and the lyrics in the song are, "I was dancing when I was 12. So there is this kind of symbolic connection between the lyrics themselves and how the narrative of Billy Elliot is established from the opening. He was dancing when he was young, and that initial love for dance grows to become his incredible success as the lead ballet dancer in Swan Lake. Okay, then we take a look at the next shot over here within the frame. We've got a broader range shot, and again we see the movement of Billy, his body language, his full immersion in the dance, again establishing his passion. The mise-en-scène, the color, the wallpaper, the costuming is all still important, but more importantly we've got that reference again to the genre. And what I wanted to reiterate here is I've got a shot here from the closing aspects of the film, the final scene where he comes onto the stage and he dances for Swan Lake, and you see how his initial passions are fulfilled by the end of the text, and that feeds into the Bildungsroman genre there. So leading on from the initial shot, you can see how the composition continues through to establish Billy's character, his love for dance, and this is all within the opening, I think, 45 seconds to the film, and we've taken away all that analysis from that. Okay, and then we skip forward slightly to his care for his grandmother. She goes missing in the opening scenes and he goes to look for her. And we know that the role of women in the film is quite important because Billy has his absent mother figure. So we can see that the lacking of a maternal figure is sometimes then substituted by his grandmother and her almost a mindless support for the ballet. She recalls how she really loved to do that as a young girl, and of course his dance teacher as well. So the role of women in the film is quite important. Perhaps the absence of the maternal figure feeds into his desire for a more kind of feminized love for dance. There is some sort of correlation or analysis that could be made there. But what I did want to point out here is that central aspect of form within the film, which is that of compositional juxtaposition. And you can see in the background of the shot, now depth of the shot, what's in the background and foreground are all key aspects of composition. You can see the remnants of the Midas strike in the background. And yet in contrast in the foreground, you've got the unwavering love that Billy is always willing to give, and also the bright colouring of his singlet sits in contrast. And again, it is symbolic for his love and his passions, as in constant contrast or tension or juxtaposition with all of his surroundings. Okay, so as a little summary of what I went through there in terms of analysis, I want you, whenever you're looking at analysis, to start with the shot. Do we have a close range shot, a broad range shot, and what kind of symbolic analysis can you draw from that starting point? Then I want you to consider the composition. What's in the foreground? What's in the background? What inferences can we draw in terms of what we're focalizing within the shot? We're looking at Billy, remember, in contrast to what was happening in the background. What narratives are told within those tensions that you see? And then assess the symbolic allusions or inferences within the text. What does the color symbolize? What does the setting symbolize? What can we read between the diegetic music and the expressions on Billy's face? All right, so start with the basics and then start thinking about symbolic analysis that you can draw from there. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found some of that analysis helpful, particularly if you're a student. And I was in that same position where I sort of struggled with how to unpack film analysis. If you have any questions, please do comment and we will get back to you. But for now, do subscribe to the channel if you like our content and click the bell for notifications. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do like the content, subscribe to our channel and we'll have more videos coming your way.
That's right, guys. Thanks for watching. And please make sure you check out our online resource database. We've had a team of state rank achievers and heads of English put these together for you, covering everything from essay structures and examples all the way through to craft of writing and comprehension skills. So check them out at ignitehse.com.au and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.